Well, it's a beautiful day out here at Honolulu International. Clouds, no wind. It's a good day for flying. There's the gyro in the front of the hangar. Let's go do a pre-flight. Okay, we start at the front. Make sure the front tire is inflated. It's off the ground normally. And make sure that there's nothing in the pitot tube. Something might have crawled in there. This is actually the excretory and reproductive organ. It serves two purposes. I made this removable so that when I put the covers on, I can put them on. Make sure that the rudder lock is off and the rotor brake. We'll turn the rotor brake off now. Okay. And I'm going to take a fuel sample here. It looks good. Oil. Make sure we got oil. Right up to the mark. Okay. Now I left the center belt covers off so that you can actually see the cam belts and also the cam idlers. Make sure that these don't have any grease coming out of them or evidence of heat, because they do get warm in flight because this engine turns very fast. The alternator belt tension. There's fuel filter here, and there's two more down there, and two more in the tank. I have strainers in the tank, so the fuel is well filtered. There's ignition wiring, make sure that everything's solid. The reduction drive belt. Make sure there's a half of a belt width deflection when you push with your fingers. About 1/2 of a belt width deflection. If it's too tight, then when this heats up during flight, it'll expand a little bit and it'll overstress the bearings. So you make sure that this is tight but not too tight. And the adjustment for it is back here. This is an eccentric. Okay, 3 blades of the propeller. Make sure they're all okay. All okay. Radiator. Make sure that it's mounted just a little bit loose so it can move around during flight, but not too loose, of course. It's mounted in rubber. Battery cables, make sure that they're okay. This is the positive, this is the negative. I ran the battery cables directly to the starter, both the positive and the negative, and so that the battery's grounded right onto the starter itself, and that helps. Every little bit helps. Okay, make sure that everything looks good in the rotor head. The cutter keys are in the controls, and exhaust is firmly mounted. Everything's solid. We move to the tail. Here's this tail is mounted very solidly. Rudder. Okay, the rudder trim should be right straight. If it's even a little bit left or right, and it's very easy for someone walking by to move it, then you have to hold left or right rudder as you're flying, and it's kind of tiring after a while. Okay, the blade. We're going to look here, the tip weights, and we're going to look at the bottom and the top. Okay, always look at the blade from the back. Never in the front. Don't pull down on the front now. Don't put any strain on it. The way you examine the front blade is to push the rotor around. Just with your finger like this. And it'll move very easily. And don't pull down on it now. The rotor blade is the most delicate part of the gyro. And fortunately, I have 2 of them. So, now we can examine the other blade back here. You look at the bottom and the top, and start back over here. propeller. And the same thing on this side. Check the cam belts, check the idlers, make sure that they're okay. They do wear out now. Not quickly, but they do wear out. And this helps keep them cool. The fact that I took the belt covers off doesn't mean that they run so hot, because there's air around it and that can move and cool them off. Okay, distributor solid here, everything solid. And you look here, get the time off the hobs and write it down on the log. And that's the logbooks there, everything's fine. And you can store sunglasses, whatever you want in there. It's much more useful than a bunch more instruments, believe me. Okay, it looks good. Fuel, make sure that you have enough fuel. And to facilitate that, I put this in, which is a sight gauge on the outside. And I can see that we have just about 15 gallons right in here, where I've written 15 gallons. And they said, do not fill above this line. There's 20 gallons right there. So it's you can easily see how much gas you've got before you get in. Now, if you really want a confirmation, or if the gas gets low, you can look right here, and you kind of wiggle the gyro a little bit, and you can see, sometimes you can see a little bit of fuel sloshing around in there, and you can tell just how much you've got. But if it's above that line, then you can't really tell how much you have. Okay, I think we're ready to go fly.